Welcome to episode 172 of Broad Street Hustle. I'm your host back this week, Tommy Nenny, bringing you recap of the NFL Week 1 Eagles, and we'll start a little bit with the Phillies. Let's go around the horn. Who do we have? We have Jason Sayeta, as always.
What's up, Tom?
Jason, how are you? We got Jimmy the Chalk.
Welcome back, Thomas.
Welcome back. I was a little under. Felt like I went to bed that night at 6 o'clock and slept till 6:15 the next day, which is awesome actually.
But you woke up in
you
time.
did-
You woke up in time to send your picks in.
You did send your picks.
I did, dude. I know. I woke up. I saw the time. That was kind of funny actually. Um, But yeah, we are back, and it is a recap of NFL Week, the Eagles, Dallas, the whole week in general, and of course, we will end with our picks as Jason always presents that. But first, we got to talk some Phillies, and the Phillies are hot, although not right now, tonight's game, but they're hot. They took 3 of 4 from the Mets so far. They've pretty much hammerlocked the division as the magic number is 7, and hopefully that'll get wrapped up for the next week and a half or so, maybe sooner. They're even closer to locking up a playoff spot. That's got to be like 4 or 5, I guess, at this point. Not that it matters. Creeping back on the Brewers for maybe even the best record. Still a 4-game lead on the Dodgers for the second and the bye. And they're doing it, overcoming the Wheeler injury. Now having to overcome Trey Turner, who's out. Alec Boehm, who's out. Boehm going to be back sooner than Turner. Turner, hopefully for the playoffs. Probably will be, but hopefully for the playoffs. And they're doing it with a cast of crew that we've talked about that at times we badmouthed and, we kind of pushed the platoon for a while. Now it's really starting to come to fruition. A couple guys are standing out. The Baiters. I mean, he's been phenomenal for a while now. Kepler, when he gets his opportunities, has been much better. Even Castellanos, I mean, give him credit. He's been sitting, and then he played the back-to-back games, had an RBI single in the one, and I think a double or a single, another RBI or whatever in the other one. So, it's working. It's working right now. We're kind of seeing how the bullpen's playing out. Who's going to be the go-to guys? Um, and we're gearing up for the playoffs. What else can I say, Jason?
Yeah, so they're 86 and 60. As you mentioned, tonight's game, it seems like it's the bad Luzardo, so it's pretty ugly so far. It's 4-0 in the third inning, I believe. But 10-game lead on the Mets, that's over. That's a foregone conclusion. They're still up 4 on the Dodgers. Now, they do play the Dodgers next week, so that is going to probably tell the tale of who's going to get the first or second, because seed. They are only a game and a half behind Milwaukee. So, but I believe they lose the tiebreaker with them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, when you say first or second, though, I feel like the Phillies have a shot for first, but I mean, the Dodgers would be kind of like you got to figure if the Dodgers overtake the Phillies, it's more so the Phillies probably weren't winning as many games, So their Dodgers are 4.5 out of first, which is tough.
Yeah, and I think the Phillies probably don't care as much about first. It's second. You want the bye, so you want at least to get the second seed. So. They are now the favorites as of yesterday to win the World Series on DraftKings. So there's that. I have a couple things jotted down. You touched on some, right? The Turner injury, not as bad as first feared. Still not great because he was in a rhythm. Now, even if he comes back to start the playoffs, now he's going to be out a month. And sometimes when Turner gets out of his rhythm, it's not pretty. So it's a pretty bad injury at this time of the year for Turner. The outfield platoon has worked, and we've pretty much all said that it's been working, and Thompson's just pushing the right buttons. I mean, Bader's getting the most time out there. He's just on fire. Hopefully, he could carry that into the playoffs because this is not the real Harrison Bader. The real Harrison Bader is going to hit about 250, which is fine because he's a very good defensive player. But I would love to have this Harrison Bader in the playoffs. I don't know.
Yeah, and the key to the platoon working though is that Castellanos is now part of the platoon.
He's fully part of the platoon now.
Because for a while the platoon was the other positions and not Castellanos was in every game. It was the left field and center field. Now that it's truly platoon
It's
now. Now
truly
that
a platoon. Maybe not as much with Wilson. Maybe Marsh will get some starts against lefties. I actually, if you look at Kepler's career numbers, they're pretty much similar. See, the problem with this platoon a little bit is Bader. It's not like Bader crushes lefties and doesn't and he struggles against righties. He pretty much hits the same against both, and actually Kepler does too. If you look at his stats, maybe slightly better against right-handers, but as you saw last night, he had no problem sitting the Soto out of the bullpen, the lefty last night. He had 2 hits,
I
and then
mean, I
Marsh,
think it's more likely Bader is the everyday player
he definitely is the everyday player.
because he could play. I mean, you lose a lot taking him out
Yeah,
defensively as well.
yeah, for sure. I mean, he's going to play like I said, 5 out of 6 games, and probably every game once the playoffs start. So that's working. It looks like Rangers back on track, which is huge. I think he solidified himself as the number 2 starter now in the playoffs. Um, Nola pitched really well the other night. Now, I was saying something tonight about he lengthened his stride. He noticed that his stride wasn't the same as it's been. It was too short, and now he lengthened his stride for the last game. Maybe that was the issue because I mean it's not like he's 35 years old. He's early 30s. You know he shouldn't just drop off the face of the earth like that. So it had to be something with his release point, something with his arm angle, something with his stride, something. So hopefully that fixes it. You really, you prefer to have him as your number 3 starter, just because you could get Luzardo could be very good, or he could be your bad Luzardo, and you can't have a bad Luzardo game in the playoffs because you can't be down 4-0 after the first inning in the playoffs. So um, that stuff, and then Walker is pretty much turned back into Taiwan Walker. So that's your long man out of the bullpen in the playoffs. I think Bueller will make the playoff roster, and he'll be more relevant than Walker. Walker's going to have that role of you're going to sit, and if we need you in the 13th inning of the extra inning game, you're going to be our pitcher. So I did have one interesting thing that I noticed about Duran, and I like Duran. Don't get me wrong, but he he's not the strikeout pitcher that you would think he would be with his velocity and all. And I think that hurts him at times because you really don't want closers putting balls in play, right? You'd rather have your closer be a strikeout guy. And for the last couple of years, he really isn't a strikeout guy. So it's a little ding against him. I still think he's very good, and obviously it was a good trade to get him and bring him in, but I just wish he struck out more guys. I don't know what you guys think about that.
Yeah, I mean the fact that he's always around the plate and a lot of contact is why you're seeing those opposite field
Those
hits and all that
dribblers,
stuff.
yeah,
But
yeah,
the one thing I'll say though was I found a little weird, and maybe they're maybe JT's calling games a little bit to like hold him back. In that game, I guess it was game 1, maybe when he came in. I think that's the only one he came in on.
yeah,
They got second and third or first and third, I forget, with 1 out. All of a sudden, he started pitching that 102 start coming out against McNeil more than it was, and he struck him out. He struck him
yeah,
out on a high fast. So like, yeah, statistically, even like you said, like even looking back at it with the Twins, but I don't. I feel like he still can be. They don't. He just throws those off speed pitches more than he really needs to in some time. So maybe when he needs that strikeout with a guy on third and 1 out,
yeah.
he
Maybe he
can.
rears back, and yeah,
Right, right. That's the hope, and he did it against McNeil. Um,
yeah.
so I don't know. I don't. That was just something I picked up on. And on Chalky, anything with the Phils? Anything to add there?
Well, just on Duran, I obviously they're scouting the hitters, so I don't know how much of that is JT calling certain pitches for certain situations. Like you mentioned it, McNeil, and then the next at bat he threw 3 breaking balls to Alvarez, and he swung and missed badly at all of them.
He was overmatched.
Yeah.
I was not afraid of Alvarez at all in that at bat. McNeil, I was a little afraid of.
Yeah. It sucks for Turner. I don't know if he's going to get enough bats to qualify for the batting title now, but he was leading the National League, so you had the leading hitter, the leading home run, and now so he might lose out on that. The injury is not expected to be as bad as it was last year, but if you remember last year, he was on a tear, and then when he got the injury, he was slow when he got back, and then never quite built back up. So you don't want to have that coming into the playoffs for sure, because he's a guy that and Bohm, this is his third DL stint this year. I mean, I can't. Who knows? He's going to take a swing or sneeze and end up back in the DL in the playoffs too, which is why I was, not that you wanted to go pay the price for like somebody like a Suarez, but finding somebody, bring somebody into trade deadline that could play third base for me wasn't a bad idea because he hasn't been on the field this year. But the up until tonight, the starting pitching was really the story for me in this series so far. And Mets are not quite the same team away as they are at home, but going into tonight, your starters went 18 innings, 1 earned run. I mean, you can't ask for that. That's your playoff recipe. As you get through 6 and get to the bullpen, and Monday night they couldn't give up anything because they only won 1-0, and they scored a bunch the last 2 nights, so they're not out of it tonight yet by any means as we record this. But I mean, they're finding a way to win these games. They took 2 or 3 from Milwaukee. They almost they gave one away to the Marlins that they almost came back and won, and now you got at least 3 out of 4 from the Mets. So the Mets division hopes are crushed. And the one thing I'll say about the seeding is that you're going to play the good teams no matter what. I would rather face the Dodgers in the championship series in 7 games than 5 games. So if the Phillies hold on to 2 and Dodgers get 3, that would be the so how does that work? Because they don't reseed, right? So
Phillies would play the
the Dodgers Mets winner right now, as of right now. Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know that I want the Dodgers in 5 games. I might rather have them in 7. But aside from that, you're gonna have the home field.
Either way, you're going to get them because if the Phillies fall to 3 and the Dodgers get 2, it's
well by that I mean getting number 1 would pretty much put the Dodgers out of play until the championship series.
That's true. Yeah.
So that's where I think that would be the advantage. But
one's more advantageous.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously. You're getting home field throughout.
But I mean, I think
the push should be for the bye.
Like the bye to get the bye. That would be, and we'll see how they measure up. They got the Royals coming in. They're 4 games back, so they're a plus 500 club. Then you got the Dodgers. So, I mean, the games will be there. You can't afford to get swept by LA. But then you got a couple relatively easy schedule the last week of the year at home. So you should be able to hold on to 2 if the wheels don't fall off. And you go from there.
Yeah, I mean, a couple quick things, and then we'll move on. So they're doing a lot of this really without Harper and Schwarber. I mean, Schwarber threw obviously a 4 home run game in there, and he hit his 50th to kind of, but they already had a 3-0 or 4-0 lead. And Harper hit a home run last night. But like they're kind of doing it with the other guys. I mean, with the Marshes, the Keplers, the Baders. So that's encouraging. The bullpen, Kirkering, I think you see he's not going to be high leverage right now. I mean, he played him in a slop game last night.
He's a mess.
He played Robertson in all the high leverage situations. So, he's going to have to earn his way back into those roles. And I don't know if he's going.
I think it's Robertson and Strom are going to be your 7th and 8th. I still like Banks, but I think he likes Banks more situational.
Banks is your guy that comes in with runners on. We've talked about that.
Yeah, he's good with runners on. Yeah, I think he's more of a situational guy, and I think it's going to be, like you said, Robertson and Strom setting up for Duran.
Yep. And then lastly, I hate to, but like none of this matters still. It's still the play. Like none of what they're doing right now changes how I feel You got to see how they do it in the playoffs. I mean, that's what it comes down to. Regular season, you just get now. It's just getting the right for seeding. Like, let's get the division wrapped up. Let's lock up the 2 seed at some point, and then see what happens. So they could be the hottest team. They could be the coldest team. It really don't matter to me at this point. I mean,
Yeah,
this is just for conversational purposes.
I think the one difference, because you might look at the team and say, well, it's the same team and this and that, but I think Marsh has become a pretty good player right now, right? Which
But Marsh in the playoffs, do you trust him?
yeah, I mean, he had a big home run against
No,
the
no.
Braves. I
But I'm
remember,
saying, do you still
but I
feel
think
good about Marsh coming out
he's
with 2
gotten
outs?
older. I think Marsh is now in his prime, where I think he's been like this young guy. Now I think he's more of an in his prime guy, and I still see Kepler as a guy who's going to come up big, like in the play. Like he's the type of guy where you're not expecting it, and then he bangs a big home run in the playoffs or something like that, and he's really good in the outfield, right? That's another thing we haven't really talked about is like when he's in right and Bader's in center and Marsh is in left. That's a hell of a defensive outfield. It
Yeah, I
really
mean,
is.
honestly, Marsh is like the weakest link in that outfield
He
when it's
is.
those
He
when it's
is.
those guys.
And Castellanos has fallen off defensively. He has had a bad defensive year this year. Like
Yeah,
he's almost become a liability out there.
he just doesn't get close to balls that he
No, he
should.
misplays balls and he doesn't. Yeah, so um, I really like them defensively with those guys out there, but you need Castellanos' bat too. So
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll see as we're coming closer down to the home stretch here. But most importantly, let's just get this division locked up. Let's get some of these seedings locked up and keep playing good baseball going into the playoff. All right, let's move on to the Eagles. So they played Thursday. They beat Dallas 30-24, I think was the final. No,
no, it was under.
no.
It was
So
24-21. No, 24. It went under.
I
27.
honestly don't remember.
20,
We should know the score. That's bad.
Should know the
20 24-20.
24-20. It went under.
24-21.
Yeah.
All right, so 24. Yeah, so
24
But I
20
think
20 even.
So we were all
24.
3 points off of our predict. Like I predicted 24-17. Chalky predicted 27-20.
20.
And you
I think I was
predicted 30
30-20.
Yeah.
20.
20.
So we were all
Yeah.
like, well, you
Yeah,
might have
pretty
been a little
close.
more off, but we
Now,
were
I
all
will
big-
say, Carter. We'll get into it, but Carter obviously big loss to start the
Yeah.
game, and the delay changed the game. It hurt
Yeah,
both teams.
killed both teams.
Offensively, both teams were like. So it's a weird game to really analyze deeply, but we'll try. But Jason, your thoughts on the Eagles game? Break
Yeah,
it
I mean,
down.
as you mentioned, the game plan changed when Carter got thrown out for being stupid, um, which we know he is, although he's unbelievably talented. But that changed everything. So to me, you can't really grade the Eagles' defense in that game because I mean, it's like them losing Reggie White back in the day. It's just their best player. I think he's their best player on either side of the ball, but it's definitely their best defensive player. So that changed the game. I mean, that being said, though, Dallas had every chance to win in the end. CeeDee Lamb, to me, lost the game for them, especially with that one drop he had, which, I mean, Dak, listen, I'm not a Dak fan at all. Dak played well in that game. Now, again, Carter didn't play, so that helped him, but I thought Dak played pretty well in the game. Hurts played well, too. I did watch Hurts tape, and Dallas is like Eberflus's defensive game plan in the first half is just it's egregious. Like
A man defense against a quarterback that can run
how do you let him beat you with his legs? Like they
against
had
a
no
quarterback
spy,
who's notoriously not as good against zone, but crushes me. Yeah, it made
no
no sense.
containment, no spy, no zone in the first half. Now he changed stuff up in the second half, but the first half, Hurts did what he wanted, and now give Hurts credit. He took advantage of it with his legs, but how you let Hurts beat you with his legs and not his arm is beyond me. So that's gross mismanagement by Eberflus. But I think maybe Dickerson just is still a little hurt and rounding into play, but he looks hurt to me, and that could be an issue if he's still hurt. Now maybe it's just he came back early from the surgery and he's going to get back to being 100% soon, but you can't have him being hurt because that's their best part of the team. And if there's any weak links in that offensive line, they're gonna have issues. So
Yeah, Chalky thoughts.
Yeah, I mean like you mentioned, Tom, the hour delay. I mean, you think, well, they get a halftime, they get coming out of halftime. On top of that, halftime is only 12 minutes or whatever. You had scores on the first 8 drives of the game between the two teams. Drive 9 is when the Eagles got the fumble to get the ball back, and then it was the break. And for the Eagles particularly, obviously, that's when Dickerson's back seized up, and he played, I think, 1 drive and then was done for the rest of the night because he was having back spasms. So for somebody that's got his issues, that obviously was a bad situation to be in. Yeah, I mean, like watching it live and you see Hurts running that much, it's hard to tell. I mean, look at the replays. You weren't seeing a lot of guys open, but it's like, is he panicking? Is he just doing this? And then I didn't watch the tape like Jason did, but reading some of the recaps, it seemed to be pretty universal. It's like they thought Hurts made the right decisions for the most part. Like he went through progressions and like they didn't have a spy and they let him run. And, AJ Brown got 1 target, but he was not getting open. And it's like, well, is he still hurt? Is he a decoy? Was there strategy to take him out of the game? He only threw that 1 deep-ish ball to Dotson that got them like 50 yards. And he went 19 for 23. 3 of them were throwaways, and 1 was a drop on Barkley. So in theory, there were no incompletions that were meant to be catchable balls that were his fault. So it's not going to be a winning play. It's not going to be a winning game plan every week. But to what we said in the preseason, it did look like he was much more cognizant of getting down before getting hit and either trying to draw a penalty or just, not absorbing that kind of contact, which was good because he ran a lot, obviously. In the defense, Carter, I don't know. I don't care if you think Dak spit at you. Like you can't do that. It was, mind blown like right away. And he really does, while they're trying to figure out some of this stuff on the defense, like he really does need to be the guy that you can't lose. Because I agree, he's your most talented player. Whether you want to call him best, I don't know if you can call their best player somebody that will make bonehead decisions like that. But the defensive line goes around him, and they got some pressure, and there are a couple plays they were like half a step late. And I think it was the first drive they almost got a strip sack, but it ends up being a big play to Lamb. But they didn't get home. And so with the interior being the strong point, they were now, without having to focus that on Carter up the middle, they were able to help on the outside a little bit. And you can see it paid off. Now, Davis actually played all right. He didn't get any sacks, but he got some pressure, so maybe losing that weight is going to help him out. But Jackson got burned toast in the backfield, so you can't be giving them all day to throw the ball his way if he's going to be out there.
Part of Carter not playing is also the domino effect of Davis played 86% of the snaps.
Yeah,
this guy played.
That's
like that all changes with Carter, so it completely changes the whole way the defense operates.
Exactly, and so maybe the break there didn't hurt them so much because it gave Davis some extra rest to not be gassed, but.
The defense performed well considering the situation they were put. It's not, and also keep in mind, it's not like Carter's out of the game and you game plan for him to not be there. The game plan was Carter, and then he's not in there. It's different when there's an injury, like Goddard's not going to play. You game plan with him not playing. But
he literally he started the game, he got on the field and didn't play 1 snap. Like. I don't know that anybody's ever gotten thrown out like before the first snap of the game when the game's been started, but So
One thing you brought up, Chalky, I'm glad you mentioned Barkley's name. Is it's interesting to watch him on the quarterback tapes because he really is not good in the passing game. Like he just does not run crisp like routes out of the backfield, and he's not the greatest blocker in the world. So if there's anything to ding Barkley on, it's him in the passing game. And we know he's known he drops passes too. He doesn't have the greatest hands.
yeah,
So
well, he cost them the Atlanta game last year, right?
Atlanta
On
game
that,
last year,
I
yeah.
mean, it's funny because they were able to use him pretty effectively as a weapon in the passing game last year, and especially on blitzes. I was not expecting much in pass protection, and he by the end of the year got really good in picking up blitz coverage. Which,
Yeah.
especially with Kelsey not being around, I was kind of shocked that they played as well. Hurts and the rest of the team included on the blitzes last year. But yeah, I mean it wasn't his best game for sure, and good game for Goddard, who may or may not play this week. I haven't seen anything official, but
He didn't
He
practice.
hasn't
he hasn't practiced, so he's probably unlikely. But
Yeah, a couple quick things. I mean, one thing I heard all week is Lamb lost the game. Mitchell dropped an interception prior to Lamb dropping a pass, so we can say
Yeah.
this guy.
But Lamb dropped 3 passes.
I know, but the
Most
Eagles also
egregious
made
was-
mistakes too. That's called
Yeah.
football. I don't buy into any of that. That would.
Well, he was a
The
big
butterfly
part of why
effect.
they lost.
Yeah, and so was Carter not playing, and so was Jackson
already
not
said
covering.
that,
I mean,
but-
it's football. Nah,
Yeah,
I don't buy that.
All right. Well, we disagree on that.
I don't buy that. Plays don't happen. I mean, I don't buy it. But I learned nothing because I'm still watching preseason football. It's just this first month that this is nonsense to me. I've learned nothing. The issues the Eagles had coming in the season, their second quarter cornerback looked exactly like an issue still. You learned nothing there. Defensive end pressures, learned nothing there. They didn't get a lot of quarter pressure from their end. Can Hurts be prolific in the passing game? He can run the ball. He can make big plays on third down. He can run the ball on the goal in the goal line situation. He didn't throw the ball particularly well. You learn nothing there. Like nothing has changed. It's the same, exactly what you thought going into the game is how you leave the game. You learn nothing from that game, and I don't think you're going to learn anything from this upcoming game. And I don't think you're going to learn much. I mean, you look at last year's season. The Eagles didn't start playing their best football until week 7, 8, 9 maybe, and then we're one of the best teams to ever play football for 7, 8, 9 weeks. So I just think this is like the part of the season that you can't overreact. You can't make assumptions. You just win these games, and the Eagles won the game. I know in 23, I said that a lot, and they were 10-1, and then they went on a losing streak and were terrible. But you got to just win these games, and they came out winning the game. I don't really look at much after that. On to the next opponent, which is Kansas City, is kind of how I look at it. I think all year, Hurts is going to be the exact same guy you saw last year, the exact same guy you saw in week 1. He's going to make plays on third down. He's going to make bad plays. He's going to make good plays. He finds ways to win games, but if the team's not playing well around him, they're not going to win games. He's not going to Josh Allen a game like Buffalo did to win that game. This is just what the Eagles are built on. And they got to hope to avoid major injury like a Barkley or Landon Dickerson or, obviously a Jalen Carter or something like that. So we shall see as the season progresses. All right, you want to preview what we think for this Kansas City Eagles game? So it was Eagles are -1.5, I believe. Is that still the line? Originally opened I think it was KC was favorite up until them playing Friday, and then the line.
Well,
I think.
If you look, I look at open and then the actual line. Open was KC 1.5, but I don't know when that open line.
Even after the game, even after Casey's game.
I go on Vegas Insider and I look at open and then
Yeah.
current. I don't know when that open line's from, but that's
Yeah,
that was the
I thought it
open.
was after Kansas City played, but I'm not sure.
I don't know. I don't know that.
so they have a chart, and it looks like, of course, as I hover over the thing, it looks like May 15th. It's saying Kansas City -1.5.
So maybe that's like before the season started. That's
To
what the
see,
line-
yeah, the preview.
And then like the next line they go to is September 8th, which would have been after both first games, right? So Yeah, that's the next point. I don't know if that's the next time it changed, but and so that might be it because then it
Yeah,
goes.
I think, I mean, based on how
It's
Kansas
changed a
City
couple
looked, I
times this
think,
week.
and the fact they don't have receivers is probably a huge fact because that line had Rice probably playing, obviously had Worthy playing, so some
Yeah.
things. So, yeah, Eagles are 1.5. Jason, how do you see this one?
Yeah, I mean, I just see this as a game where the Chiefs are going to be a little desperate because they lost that first game. I think if you're the Eagles, you probably would have rather had them beat the Chargers in that game. Now the Chiefs are 0-1. They're coming home. Teams really don't want to go 0-2, so maybe there's a little desperation there with the Chiefs in this game. Of course, it's a revenge game, and it's not only is it a revenge game, it's pretty close to you know, the last game you want to say. I mean, obviously it's been 6 months, but like in football terms, like this is like really the third game. So since that game, so it's a really close revenge game. I just think Spagnola. Now I know this did not matter in the Super Bowl, but I think he's got to look at that tape and shake his head as what the hell Eberflus was doing with that game plan and have some kind of different game plan that at least stop Hurts on the ground. Um, so I think the Chiefs are winning this game. Obviously I think it'll be a close game, but I have the Chiefs winning 23-20.
Chalky?
Yeah, so I mean, I said this 2 years ago when the Eagles and Chiefs played at the Super Bowl. I don't buy the whole revenge game thing in a regular season atmosphere for this. I think to me it's more of a playoff. The Eagles didn't get anything by beating the Chiefs in the regular season last year, but look, Mahomes, he's going to have a chip on his shoulder. We know that always, but it was beautiful to watch that series and how that ended in a happy ending. If you didn't hate the Chiefs already, from ESPN, but to me, like I looked at this, I'm like, even for all the reasons that you said, Jason, it's like, Chiefs will be desperate, even though it's like they have a somewhat easy schedule the next couple of weeks, so like it's not like they're totally out of it if they lose. And then they have like Baltimore and Buffalo like lined up next to where they could be 0-4. Home opener. They've had a long. They've only had one less day than the Eagles to prepare, so it's not like they played on Sunday and the Eagles were a Thursday night. The lines with the Eagles just it keeps jumping out at me. It's like, should that be it? I guess that's where you're looking at the wide receivers being out. Now, so obviously they're going to lean heavy on Kelsey in the passing game. Bond can cover tight ends and he can cover some receivers. So it's a matter of, is your pass rush?
Think Campbell might be able to as well.
Yeah, I mean he made some good plays. So, against my better judgment, I'm gonna take the Eagles in this, and I'm gonna say 26-24.
Well, one thing I do want to bring up, and I don't have the exact stat, is there's an outrageous stat out there, and it just is for like week 2 because there's so much overreaction to week 1. Like if you just flat took the underdog in week 2, it's like an outrageous percentage of being successful. So I just think there is a lot of desperation. Teams don't want to go 0-2 for some reason, and I think there's a lot of overreaction with lines. So, for whatever that's worth. What was your score, Chalky?
26-24.
Okay.
Yeah, I think one thing you guys left out that could semi be important is, I mean, Kansas City is coming from Brazil, which we don't really have data on how that affects teams, but they played in the Brazil. I know the Eagles didn't look sharp against the Falcons coming from Brazil. I don't remember what Green Bay did in their game too, but I gotta imagine that plays somewhat of a little bit of a problem for them. I mean, I heard, I know somebody that was actually there for working wise that worked on the interview, and the travel like there is a disaster. Now he's traveled on like a TV crew, not the Kansas City Chiefs, but I mean, I think it does play a little bit of a factor. I agree with everything you say, Jason, but like you need the players too, and I don't know if Kansas City has the players right now. Like you watch Reed now for 2 straight games, if you want to go back to the Super Bowl, has become Andy Reid again. Doesn't run the ball. Doesn't he runs once, twice, and then he just abandons it completely. Did it in the Super Bowl. Did it against the Chargers. Like, his desperation might actually be a negative because his desperation is to pass more. Um, and Mahomes, I don't know who he's throwing to. I mean, he doesn't have a legitimate receiver on the team. Kelsey is clearly not the same player.
Well, he
I
threw
mean,
half of his passing attempts were to Hollywood Brown last week. I think like 16.
who stinks?
I mean,
Stinks.
he had 100 yards, but he had 16 targets.
He stinks. So I mean, yeah, you get a Mitchell on him, and then like you said with Kelsey. So I don't know. I struggle with seeing how Kansas City's going to just be able to get out of the funk. At some point, these dynasties start to have cracks. I think Carter's gonna play. You talk about revenge. I don't think it's revenge, but like he's gonna play with a huge chip on his shoulder, being kicked out. He's gonna have something to prove. So I'm leaning Eagles in this one. I agree with chalking the line. I see it more like almost a 2-score game. I got a 30-21 because I do think it's gonna finish overs because I think the public's heavily on the unders when I looked. So I would lean towards overs. I could see 30-21. I could see 34-17, something in that range. But, yeah, I got the Eagles 30-21. Basically, Kansas City's going to have to prove that they are still Kansas City Chiefs before I start to buy in. And they're a team I had going far because of Mahomes, obviously. I had them going to the championship game, but I struggle to see it with that roster.
So I think you're reading the site how I first read it last week. They're heavy on the overs.
No, I think
the site format has changed. If you look at Vegas Insider, the bottom one is over, not under.
Oh, I missed that too then.
Yeah, I picked it up last week when I made my picks. But
the bottom one is over. It was 92%.
On the over, yeah. You said you were taking the over because people weren't betting that.
Oh. Yeah,
No,
I did read it wrong then.
I heard you say that last week, Chalky, and I thought you misspoke, but you could be right.
No, because that's how I read it last week, and I thought, well, maybe I read it wrong, but not that people care. But like every game, the overs was like that bottom one was the one for every game, and like when I look at the Chiefs, it says their over/under record is 1-0. But it's down at the bottom. Yeah,
I don't know why
they switched it. And like the Chiefs won because the Chiefs. That was my pick of the week. The bottom one had more, whatever, and they're saying that's 1-0. So
that would make more sense with my analysis because I don't think the Chiefs are going to score a lot.
Yeah.
So I would lean unders now, but I'll keep to my. I mean, it don't matter.
Yeah, because I mean, and that's what threw me last week was that threw me off. But then like the public's not betting 90% on the unders in every game. Like we know that. So that's when I first started to take a deeper look. But yeah.
Yeah, so I'll stick to my story, but I can see that. I can see the Kansas City putting up. That's why I said I could see a 34-17 because I was still trying to get to that overs with Kansas City not scoring as many points. But yeah, I mean, bottom line is I see the Eagles winning like a 2-score game more so than a real close game. And I could be way wrong. I just need to see the Chiefs prove it to me before I necessarily buy back into the Chiefs. All right. Well, before we get to picks, I think we've done this in most years, and we used to do it with Meeker. It was kind of funny because he's an idiot. But the overreaction from week 1. So Jason alluded to lines. The overreaction with lines and betting. I'll give a quick overreaction. Aaron Rodgers is back to being Aaron Rodgers, and Steelers are going to win the Super Bowl type of deal with that offense and Aaron Rodgers. Obviously, I think they're not. But I mean that's going to be an overreaction. Is that Rodgers threw 4 touchdowns? He's back. He's got a team, et cetera, et cetera. So one of the things that I just kind of saw, but don't believe. I don't believe in Pittsburgh. I don't believe in Aaron Rodgers. I can see him not finishing the year. Jason, anything that jumped out to you that could be an overreaction?
I mean, I didn't have anything like that. I mean, I know we spoke before. You're kind of down on the Lions. I'm not ready to say that yet. Remains to be seen. I think they are. It's a little different without both of their coordinators. But I mean, I think there's teams. I don't know if this is an overreaction, but I think there are teams that look significantly better. Um, Colts for one, and Jacksonville for two. Um,
So that's
you
more
know,
like a better than expectation type of series.
yeah,
Yeah.
better than anyone thought. So, I mean, I'll throw that out there, and then I'll just leave it at that. I don't really have a team where I see maybe Miami. I don't know. Is
Like,
Miami as
I
bad as
mean,
they looked?
Tua looks like he
I
might be
just think
done.
I think they're going to wind up firing that
Yeah.
guy.
Yeah, he could be a first coach fire
Yeah,
type
he's
of.
the favorite to be fired.
Oh, he is. Yeah, that makes
Yeah,
sense.
to be the first coach fired. Yep.
Yeah, Chalky, anything quickly before we move to the picks?
I mean, yeah. Quick reaction is there's the Packers and the Eagles are the only two good teams in the NFC. I mean, that was my championship game pick, but they were the only one, and the Eagles obviously had their issues, but if you go look at those games now, you take a team like San Francisco, which guys like they didn't look impressive against Seattle, but you're like, okay, it's week one. Well, now they have Purdy out multiple weeks, probably Kittle's on IR, McCaffrey's already like on the injury report every week. So, maybe, but they have an easy schedule. So to say,
One thing I'll say about them is I watched the Purdy tapes, and Trent Williams looks like he might be done.
well, that's
So
that's a
that
big,
could
big
be
problem if that's the
that could
case.
be an issue
Yeah,
because he was getting beat like a rented mule. I guess that's the saying, right?
yeah.
The whole game.
Um,
So
you know, um, so that would be the initial overreaction is that it's going to be it's 100% Eagles Green Bay in the NFC Championship game in some format.
All right, let's move to picks. Jason, this is your show.
all right, so we'll start with how the league did. So against the spread, the public got crushed last week. They were 4-12. The over unders, there was 4 overs and 12 unders, which is very interesting when we get to the picks. There'll be some interesting stats on that last week's picks. So how we did last week. So Tommy went 2-1. His best bet was the Colts, which was my best bet also, and it did really well. That game was pretty much over a half hour into the game. His second pick was the Packers. It was also a good pick. He won that. He lost on the Falcons, probably because of the kicker, but did lose, so he was 2-1. I also went 2-1. Colts, like I mentioned, was my best bet. And I have an interesting stat. Let me go through the rest of my picks, and I'll get to that. But Jacksonville, my second pick, was also pretty good. My third pick was not the Giants. The Giants offense still looks like the same old Giants offense. So, but an interesting stat with Tommy and I when we agree. So when we agree on a game altogether, we're 24-12, which is pretty good. When we both have the best bet, we've had 15 of those occasions over the around about 50 games, I guess you could say, which is actually pretty amazing. But we're 11-4 in those games. So I think we have to get the Twitter handle when we agree on those best bets
Yeah,
and start putting those
yeah.
out
I
there.
was a little out of commission. I was down the shores. Sunday
Yeah,
off. I was sick. And
yeah. So now Chalky decided to go the route to pick 3 unders last week, and we'll give the
well, you
game.
said the unders were 11-4, so he had to do well, right?
You would think 12-4
12 and
actually,
4.
but you would
12-4.
think, yeah.
Yeah.
So his first top pick was Chiefs Chargers under. That did not go under.
That was that was close. Like that was a late score too.
Yeah, but we're not playing horseshoes.
No, but I mean the other ones are much worse.
Yeah. Well, Ravens Bills under was clearly not under. Although that hung around at least for to what the third quarter,
That made it past halftime.
made it past halftime. Now the Steelers Jets under that one was a very 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 bad pick, Chalky. I mean that was over in the second quarter, right? At some point, that went over.
I don't know if it made it to halftime, but if it did, it didn't last long.
Right. So that didn't work. So Chalky started 0-3. And yeah, it's pretty amazing. Going into the Monday night game, he pretty much the only games that went over were the 3 games that he picked under. So, pretty hard to do, but Chalky did it. So, all right. So our stats for the year. So as I mentioned, Tommy's 2-1, profit of $85, 67% win, 28% ROI. I'm also 2-1, $98 profit, 67% win, 33% ROI. Chalky 0-3, minus $300, 0% win, minus 100% ROI. Best bets. Tommy and I both hit ours. Chalky did not. So we went 2-1 in best bets. For lifetime best bets, I'm 30 and 22, 58%. Tommy's 28 and 22, 56%. Chalky's 26 and 28, 48%. Meeker, we'll keep giving the Meeker picks because they're bad and we like giving bad Meeker stats. So Meeker was 23 and 28 with his best bets, 45%. Lifetime, we're 107, 152% with our best bet pushes. And then we'll give our overall records lifetime. I am 92 and 69, profit of $1,453, 57% win, 9% ROI. Tommy 76 and 75, loss of 374, 50, a little over 50% win, minus 2% ROI. Chalky is now 80 and 82, loss of $856, 49% win, minus 5% ROI. Meeker, 72 and 81, loss of $1,598, 47% win, minus 10% ROI. And for the lifetime of the pod, we're 320 and 307, loss of 1,375, 51% win, minus 2.2% ROI. I do have to give the Rally Monkey stats, which I forgot. Chalky should have reminded me.
I was going to wait for you to finish before I called you out on it.
Okay. So the Rally Monkey went 1 and 2.
Oh,
He lost with the Bengals. He lost with the Eagles. But then he had the Packers. So Tom, you and the Rally Monkey had the same Packers
Well,
pick.
so question for you: when you give the lifetime pod stat, does that include the Jimmy D's?
No, it's just the core. And
so I do think at some point we need to extract Meekers from the lifetime pod as he's not giving.
Then we would become better. But I always you're right. Maybe
for the lifetime pod. I mean, we can give Meekers every week where he's at, but I do think that you take him out if he's not giving picks. I mean, should he be?
We could do that, and we could just say we're the core now.
Yeah,
because then we become profitable.
I mean, realistically, take out his, and if you had the time, take out all our head-to-heads against each other because there's no way for that to be profitable, and then that ROI will go back up.
That's above my pay grade.
Yeah,
unless you want to pay me a little more.
That's a job for the producer.
That's a job for the producer. The Meeker's very easy to take out. That head-to-head.
I'm the only one that has a real job day to day of this group. Like
that's I don't know about that.
Anyway,
we can work on the Meeker's pretty easy to do. So.
All right, let's wrap this show up by giving our picks. So I wasn't on last week, so I know we always like to randomly say who goes first. We usually have a series of events. But I wasn't on last week, so I would have probably started with myself. But now, since we have a flow, we'll just go with probably lowest to highest. So whoever had the least amount of wins, which I think Jason, help me, I forget.
Well, Chalky had 0.
0. Okay, so Chalky, why don't you go ahead and go first this week, and we'll switch it up next week.
Yeah, right. We pulled the whole curtain back on that random thing last week. But all right, so my best look, I learned my lesson. Stop trying to do, take the totals, blah, blah, blah. So my best bet is going to be under in the Broncos-Colts game. That's under 42.5.
My best bet is the Ravens money line. So
minus 102 on that line, under 42.5. That's the only side I have, or total, I should say, that I have this week. My second pick is going to be Falcons plus 3.5. That's minus 115. Jason's wincing, so it sounds like he might have that as well. And my third pick,
minus 115. That was
minus 115.
All right.
And my third pick I did not write down, so I am have to make
This is
something
gonna
up
be a good one.
at this point. Damn, who else did I have? Oh, Bengals -3, -118.
No, that I like.
All right, so I guess give the rally monkey, Jason. Is that how did you guys do it last week?
Chalky has he's in touch with the Rally
Yeah,
Monkeys
so
handler.
the Rally Monkeys wires were a little scrambled because it had to a couple had to contact a couple times to get the right picks. But I will say the Rally Monkey consistently had one of the problems was I asked for 3 picks and they kept giving me Green Bay as the top pick, which is underway right now. They are winning 7-0, so
So it's like Meeker. So
they would be.
it's one of the Meekers.
I
Does the rally monkey know we don't buy points as well? They buy.
Now, in fairness to the monkey, I got that pick before kickoff, but we did not. We currently are not recording before kickoff. The game has started, so we can't take that. So, after several requests, the new top pick is Lions -6. I believe DraftKings has it as. That's yes, Lions -6 against the Bears. That's -108. Second pick is Jaguars +3 -102.
Oh my god.
And the third is going to be under in the Rams Titans game, which, according to DraftKings, is not on the board. Under 41.5, that's -112.
Okay. And I'll run through mine. So my top pick is the Rams -5.5, -108. That was a game that the Titans had more money for some reason. The line went up. I think that the Titans should have won that game against Denver by 30 points. The fact that they somehow lost that game pretty easily was amazing. They had muff punts. They somehow got a muff punt in like the red zone and got sacked and didn't even get a field goal opportunity in a league where we can kick 75-yard field goals. So they stink. Cam Ward stinks. It looks like, in my opinion. So I got the Rams -5.5. I got Baltimore -11.5 against Cleveland. I think they are gonna smoke them. That's another game where Cleveland had more of the picks right now. I know that could change. But I talk about overreaction. Cleveland hanging in there with Cincinnati was an overreaction. Like,
What's the juice there, Chalky?
On that game, it's -115.
Okay.
oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, the Rams were -108. Did
Yes,
you get that?
that's correct.
That's right. And then my last pick is ballsy. It's risky. I got San Fran -3, -115. I still believe that they are the much better team. The Saints are bad, and I can easily see Shanahan being able to get Mac Jones up to like have an effective offense there. So I think that was one where the injuries like made the line go much lower than it should be. So I'm gonna pull Meeker. I think Vegas got this one wrong. Um, that I think that line should still be kind of higher. So I got San Fran -3, -115. Jason.
All right. So my best bet is the Falcons +3 -105. Chalky, what is that?
No, it's shifted. It's 3.5, and it's juiced up. What
It
did I
is
say?
three
It
and a
was
half. Well, that's I'm
It was
happy
three?
that I wanted the hook, so I'm glad.
It's 3.5, 3.5, 115.
Okay.
Yeah, so it was. You said 3 -105, so must have. It's pretty
Yeah.
much.
So I'm glad I at least got the hook there. So my second pick is the Jaguars +3.5 -115.
So that
Um,
that's at 3 now.
That went to 3. That
Yeah,
I don't
because
like.
the monkey also liked it at 3.5, but DraftKings currently shows 3, but that's -102.
Okay. I'm not crazy about that, but I think Jacksonville is going to be decent this year. I think I like what Cohen's doing with the offense. Now they beat a dreadful team last week, but I don't know about the Bengals. They struggled big time against Cleveland. I don't know
Yeah, the
about
only
the
thing with
Bengals.
that is though they struggled offensively, which is not where you thought their deficiency would be, right? I mean,
Yeah, but I mean, is it though? Maybe it is this year. Like you don't
yeah,
know. I mean, I don't know. So they didn't look good in that game. And then my third pick, I'm me and the rally monkey are thinking the same. I have this. I have the Lions -6, -108. I think they're going to kill the Bears. I think it's a little bit of desperation again. You don't want to fall to 0-2. I think the Bears stink. I think Caleb Williams can't play. Um, he just does not play with any anticipation whatsoever. He struggles to play the position of quarterback. Um, so I think the Lions and the public's on the Bears. I mean, give me. I actually probably should have made the Lions my best bet, but I'll keep them with my third pick. Lions -6, -108.
yeah. One stat I did want to share there, and I told you, Jason, off air is um, Goff when McVay or Ben Johnson is not his play caller, offense quarter. He's 0-19, 0-19-1. So he did tie. He's 0-19. Um, I don't know those 19 games. They might have been the underdog in all 19. Like I have no idea, but that's just what his record is.
That's gotta be his first year with the Lions, right?
Yeah, I mean, right.
Yeah.
So
Oh no, I'm
you take it
sorry.
for what it is.
His rookie year, Jeff Fisher was the coach in LA.
So that's part of it. Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
that's definitely part of
I mean,
it.
to take it what it is. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm just saying it's a stat that I saw that found interesting. So, and I think Caleb Williams will not even be the quarterback by the end of the year. On the like, Ben Johnson cannot wait to get rid of him. I don't think he wanted him. There was like talk in preseason he didn't want to even play him or something. It was like a
He
so
can't play.
no, he can't play.
He can't play.
He can't play. Um, all right. So I think that's it for episode 172 of Broad Street Hustle. Next week, we will bring you NFL Week 2 recap, Eagles, probably some more Phillies as we creep ever closer to the playoffs. Hopefully, they maybe have clinched by then. Have a great night.